Do you ever get a little skeptical when you see albums that are super obscure, rated really highly by publications like this or by this guy over here, and just wonder, like, what is this? What's all the hype about? Well, I have decided that I'm going to take a look at any of these albums that get 8s or higher, and I am going to just listen to them and see, is this actually something that is worth listening to? Now, most things are worth listening to, but is it actually worth a huge rating like that? And is it just, rated that way because it's kind of like critic clickbait, like, it's just something different, or an amalgamation of two genres or something like that, or it's just kind of cool to like this album? Now, first album up in this series is The Collective by Kim Gordon, and Pitchfork gave it an 8.5. Whoa. And Anthony Fantano gave it an 8. So these are huge ratings. They're great scores, and I decided, let's listen to this, and I did. And my first listen, I was like, whoa, this is weird. The first two songs, Bye Bye, The Candy House, I was like, this is absolutely just basically critic clickbait. It's just because you've got this kind of strange vocalization and lyricism over hip-hop style trap beats, and critics love that. They eat up this amalgamation of genres, and I'm instantly skeptical. I'm like, this is garbage. This is just clickbait. There's no listenability to this album. But I keep listening. And I need to give this whole album a listen. I have to give it a chance. I can't just turn it off. And I keep listening. And I am like, whoa, these beats are dirty. And they are chaotic. And they are all over the place. And the lyrics, the flow, the lyrics are weird and strange. Sometimes they're a little weird, too weird. They're strange. The flow is like non-existent. And I'm like, this is kind of like Armand Hammer. This is kind of like some of these experimental rap groups that I like. And I'm starting to dig these beats. And all of a sudden I'm like, these are some of the best beats that I have heard in a long time. So creative, so strange, so weird and bizarre. I'm digging it. Another but, I realize that there are some things that the mainstream values that are valid. They're valid points, and that is listenability. Is this listenable? Is it appealing to the ear? And I'm all for giving music a try and letting it sit with you, and giving things a chance, and not kind of judging a book by its cover, but there is value to listenability. And one thing I will say is this album is not overly listenable. The beats, maybe, sure, if it was just instrumental, but the beats coupled with the lyricism and the flow / melodies / whatever, there's not a whole lot there. It's strange, it's weird. In the end, I liked it, although I don't think I would give it as high of a score, just because, yeah, there is value. I don't think this is a game changer. I could be wrong. Look back in a few years. But I don't think this is a genre changer, a game changer. I don't think this is an album that we're going to look back on and be like, this was one of the best albums of that time in that century. I think it's just a really cool thing, and we're kind of getting, and by we, I'm talking about the critics that rated it as high as they did, they're just kind of getting a little excitable over something that's really unique and cool and creative, and I get that. But there's no listenability here. There's going to be no mainstream appeal, which that's not everything. But on top of that, I don't think that there's any uniqueness to this that is going to just totally blow open a new genre or change things, and lyrically, at least on first glance, it's not Bob Dylan-esque. It's not something that's going to change culture and change society. So overall, I think there's maybe a little bit too much hype, but I will say this, you got to test this. You got to try this out. You got to test this album out. You got to give it a listen, at least 5 tracks, and just see what you think, because it will open your mind, and it's pretty crazy. These beats are dirty and chaotic and amazing, and I love them. But the flow is weird, lyrics are weird, so I don't know. It's a give and take.